Okay, here we go. Bill, let me know when you can see that.
I can see it.
Okay, good. So welcome everybody. I'm here, and one of the JV partners, Bill DeWeese, is with us, and he's the
Hello?
we're oh is who else is here? Bill, is that you? Did you chime
Yeah,
in?
just me, I think.
Okay. Somebody said hello. I was like, I didn't know
Oh, that
anybody.
was me. When you introduced me, I
Oh,
just said
okay,
hello.
good. Yeah. So here's Bill's site, and I was just asking him a little bit about some of the numbers on the opt-ins. So let's take a look. So right now, in terms of total opt-ins, we have a little over 1,000, right?
Correct.
Just over. So let's make it 1,000. And in the since I mean, it's amazing to me the amount of money that has currently been generated just from those 1,000 opt-ins. And so I guess that there's really two things we have to do, which is number one, increase the number of opt-ins. And by the way, have you had a chance to look at the video from Bill Ballou yet?
No, did you send me a link to a video or
I
something?
think I
I don't
did.
recall.
Remind me if you haven't gotten that because
Yeah, I'm not. Don't believe I've received anything.
okay, well get remind me with an email,
Okay.
and I will then have either I'll send it myself. It's on my Google Drive, and I'll either have Stanley send it or I'll send it myself. So, but our goal right now is, you know, is two things. Number one, to increase the number of opt-ins, and so then the question is how, and that is through SEO, which we're working on with Ermel, and also at some point we may consider some paid stuff. But also, one of the things we haven't done in a while, did we ever do a press release?
We have. It's been a while.
And how much did we pay for that, and how successful was it?
Well, there was one we did that was free that
Yeah.
actually made it to the CBS website, and then there was another I think we paid like $50 for.
Yeah, so it might be worth trying to do a free one again if we can find something. But the whole idea here is we want to increase the number of opt-ins, and also we want to get more people who have opted in to buy something even at a low price point. So that's what our two goals are for right now, which is to and as a result of that, I know you're doing it, or that's next on the list. Which is next on the list for you is the 100 questions, right?
Correct.
And those 100 questions, I think you said Mallory put them together. There weren't quite enough. You added some to create close to 100. Then you're going to put them in categories. So what's the time frame given the fact that it can change at any time because real work comes in voiceover? What's the time frame for completion on that? Do you think at this point?
Well, let me say, in terms of project beginning, by the time this month is over, we should be into it. And then my hope is that, let's see, by the August, September, by end of September would be my
Finish date?
completion. Yeah.
Yeah, completion date for the answers. And again, you see those as all being done in video form, correct? It's all going to be screen
Correct.
capture.
Right. Yeah, be video.
Got it. So screen capture. And the nice thing is that the thing that amazes me is that we have increasing credibility because I remember when we started this project, at the start, you were saying, well, I'm making close to or 150,000 as a voiceover artist, so I have the right to tell you how to do this. And this year, it still looks like you're on track to do 200K plus, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm making close to $5,000 a week now, on average.
Yeah. Right. And so if we take five
So it's
times it might be
nearing
250.
250.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's really within the past 6 months that it's really man, it just took a huge jump forward and continues to climb.
Well, you know the reason for that, right?
I can't wait to hear your answer.
Because
What
you're
is it?
working with me. Because it's
That
just
was going to be my answer, but I just want to hear you have to say.
it's rubbing off. It has nothing to do with what we're doing. It's rubbing off. That's funny. Okay, so but I do like the fact that what you're doing is in order to get there, and this should be something noted for everybody, which is currently we were at 150 or you were at 150, now getting close to 250. This is per year, obviously. And I think it has a lot to do with, I think, a sort of a marketing philosophy and orientation combined with you just dropping, less viable or less, less profitable
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
and adding more profitable
Yeah.
clients. Yeah. So, I mean, and I'm sure Vicky is happy, right? Vicky is Bill's wife, by the way, for those of you.
I've never seen her so happy when it comes to finances.
Yeah.
I remember there were many years prior to this she was very frustrated, but she
Right.
seems pretty happy right now.
Right. Sounds good. So, I mean, I think that everything's on. And for those of you, again, who haven't heard me have this conversation with Bill, I'll repeat it one more time, which is that I don't want to, given the fact that, and I mean, I don't know if you chart exactly how many hours you work, but how many hours did you work last week?
I mean, I would say I work basically 8 to 4 or 4:30, and then some evenings and weekends. So,
I'll bet it's close to 50, right? Or more.
yeah, yeah. I would say it's more than 50.
Okay.
I always say it's my. It's funny. Mallory and Vicky always say you work way more than you say you do because they say that even when I'm not working, I'm always planning the next move, or I'm
Right.
always thinking about it. So it's not always 50 hours of straight recording, but I'm in my office a lot too, working.
Okay, so now let me ask you this. As I look at it, if you were to be able to spend 30 hours doing voiceover work, VO work, and spend the other 20 hours working on info products, that would be a lot less taxing for you, even if you made the same amount of total money, correct? Because you wouldn't be using your voice as much.
Yeah, that's really the grind is the recording. That's
Yep.
what takes it out of me.
Yeah, I know that. So again, our goal is to try and move it a little bit in that direction.
Yeah, yeah. And my plan is eventually have my morning, like before lunch is all voiceover work, and then afternoons is all voiceover training related work. That's
Now,
the goal.
now let me ask you this: is that because of the fact that your voice is stronger in the morning?
Yeah, I'm fresher in the morning. I'm very productive when it comes to recording. I can get a lot done. As the day wears on, I can feel it, and I really start to drag. It gets harder to record. And so, yeah, that's the reason.
Okay, so let's talk specifically then about. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to do here is the 100 questions, and I think that anybody in any field could use this, which is the 100. Let's just say the 100 top questions, and what were we calling that? The 100 top questions every voiceover artist has, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, it's something I can come up with a name, but something like that. Yeah,
And
top
I think
100
that
voiceover questions.
I think that this is perfect for any field. So anybody watching, listening to this webinar could do the same thing. And again, I think our goal was, let's just say that each of those were 4 to 5 minutes. You'd be looking at a top of 500 minutes, which if you take that and divide it by 60, or even make it let's make it easy, make it 400. I don't know, so make it
Yeah.
240,
8-ish
480.
hours, something like that.
I think it was, if it was 480, it would be exactly, what's that? That's 8 hours, right?
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, 8 hours
Yeah, 6
total.
8 48.
Yeah, so I mean that would be, that's a heck of a lot of material. And I think the beauty of that is it's similar to everything else we've discussed before, is broken down granularly and divided up into the various topics. If I could get access to a site where, I had a whole bunch of these videos broken up by, 8 or 10 different categories and then gone into individually, I would be psyched because I could pick and choose how and what I wanted to learn. And 8 hours of material. I mean, we really should put a price tag on this. I think the retail price on this should be at least $397. Now, whether or not we sell it ever for that amount, but I think that should be the full retail price of this information. So what we're trying to do then, and probably discounted, at least initially, it might go down to 197, and then we're going to find some way to do a $77 version and some way to do a $27 or a $17 version. But I mean, I think, and maybe the 17 or whatever, the 27 is going to be the top 10 questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
I just think that this is 8 hours of great instruction and material that will be protected behind a paywall. And I think that, we can set it up so that the top 10 questions are put on a separate page. This is going to be easy to do, to be able to separate these into, maybe this is the top 10. And again, these numbers might not be exactly right. This is the top 25 questions, at a slightly higher price. And then, so we'll have 3 tiers: the top 10, the top 25, and then all the full 100. You follow me here?
Yeah, sure do.
Yeah. So I think that's great. So now, if you've got a run, I know you can do that. But I think that this is a really, when it's finished, it's going to allow us to give you something at a lower price point, trade people up from there, get them excited about the material, et cetera, et cetera. And even at the top 10, I mean, that's assuming it's 10 questions. It's almost an hour of material for $17. That's great.
Yeah, and I really think that is our biggest gap right now. We just don't have that, entry price type
Yep.
product.
Yep. And I think that that's going to really, really help. So again, if you need to get off, I understand. Please do. So don't. I mean, it's going to
Yeah,
take long.
thanks, Fred. Sorry about that. I
No,
appreciate it. Work continues. So,
no, I understand. Go ahead and do your thing. And what I'm going to do is
all
I'm
right.
just going to continue to talk about other stuff. But good to have you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Fred. Thanks. Bye bye.
Okay, bye. None of the other JV partners, just to let everybody else know here, I've recently added some people. And what I've done is I've actually stopped. I have stopped adding any other JV partners at this point because I just want to be able to devote. So now I have Bill DeWeese, who you've just heard from. I've got Bill DeLue, who I'm working with a traffic product. I've got Avish Perisher. I've got Greg Fellows, who is both poker and spasmodic dysphonia, which is what I call SD. And then I've got a couple of other people here that I'm not going to really talk about that much at this point. So I've just basically stopped that. So what I want to do is, I've told Bill, Bill, as you just saw, his current numbers on his voiceover business is running about $250,000 a year. So that's what he's doing yearly with that. And I really think that within 2 years, 2 years from now, he can be equaling his numbers in voiceover in information products. I'm thinking, okay? So I'm thinking that, 24 to 36 months from now, VO will equal to info products in terms of total gross. So I'm excited for him on that, and I'm excited for that for me too. That certainly wouldn't hurt, and that's a good thing. So I'm rather than trying to recruit more JV partners, I am just trying to get as many people as I can. I mean, take the existing group of people and help them dramatically bump up their numbers. So just in case you're interested, we've changed it a little bit on the poker site, but let me give you an example. We just made something of pokercashgameguru.com, and we now have a banner for this. Not a whole lot of content. So that is the banner: how to make $200 per day playing cash games in a casino. Again, that's going to be changing as well. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But the poker site, one of the first things, if we go through this again, here's how it happened. So I got interested in a topic, poker. And sometimes these happen in reverse order too. Then I met some people, or I met a person who knew poker. Then we added an additional party, and that was because the person I first met, Greg, had a buddy who he said could bring a lot to the table, and so instead of doing a 50-50 split, we opted instead to add a third person, which is always a bit dicey in business partnerships, but we're now doing 33 each, 33 percentage points each, and we're splitting it 3 ways. Don't always recommend this. This can be 3 is always a dicey number, but I think that the other 2 parties and myself are we're pretty similarly we think a lot alike, and so I don't think it's going to be a problem. The reason why it's a problem is always there's the unequal, the two against one kind of thing just happens whether it's in the sandbox or in business. But this looks to be a good match as well. Now again, the spasmodic dysphonia, or SD as I'm calling it, my friend David Oliver has allowed us to take a look at his bipolar central and basically pattern our site after that. So we have spasmodic dysphonia central, which is going to be looking like bipolar central. So there's the poker niche, and one of the reasons why I didn't get all that excited or interested about spasmodic dysphonia, but I was interested in poker. So here's an example of one niche that I was super excited about, and the other niche that I just was fascinated about because there's only a smaller number of people. I think it's going to be easy to sort of capture that niche. But we've got, again, an example of I got interested in the topic, poker. I met a person who, so finding the subject matter expert, or if you're doing this for yourself, which I would encourage you to start with first. And I had I had investigated and been involved in about 8 or 10 of my own niches before I started branching out and working with other people. And so what happens here is that I got really interested in poker. And so therefore, when I'm working in that particular niche, it's easy for me to get excited. Now, my most recent contact was with somebody who is in the video game business. And we're going to be putting together something for that field as well. And that's something that I'm excited about because I have a stepson who's very interested and very active, very involved in that. So all of the niches that I get involved with, I either have an intense interest just because I have curiosity, like the spasmodic dysphonia, or I have an actual interest in the topic myself. If it's with Avish, I've got the speaking, this professional speakers market and public speaking in general. But so I would encourage everybody to just follow my lead and not go looking at a niche and saying, "Oh, I'm going to get all excited about this," even though you have no real interest, because that's to me that's the kiss of death. If anybody has any questions on that, I'm going to keep going. But if you have any questions, just throw it in the question box there. But that's sort of one of my formulas for considering and getting started. But now, since I'm doing, if you think about it, I've got my own business, so all of my own biz stuff, and that accounts for X% of my time. And really, the balance of my time is my JV partners, and that contributes to a percentage of my time. And I would say that my own biz stuff now probably is more like 25%, whereas this is now, a greater percentage of that, 70, whatever, 75%, somewhere in there. So if you have any questions, now is the time to answer it. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is I get much more interested, excited, and enthusiastic when I'm working with JV partners on topics that I'm interested and excited about, as opposed to working on my own stuff. I feel a little bit isolated, and it's not as fun for me as doing some of the other things. Now, again, I used to try and actively solicit people for these kinds of things, and I found it was the wrong way to go. So now I let people come to me, and things just happen where I bump into people. I attended for those of you who aren't poker people, I apologize, but I was in Vegas. They were having this thing, and I'll just show you the website just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here. Is the World Series of Poker, WSOP, and I was there and watched it get down to the final 9 players. Unfortunately, the woman that I was rooting for, both of the 2 women finished just outside the top 9, unfortunately, and they were this gal, Elizabeth Hille, who is Norwegian, and Gael Baumann, who's a French woman, I think, and unfortunately, that kind of bummed me out. Now, this guy's from Henderson, Nevada, which is where I live, and he lost in the last go-around $18 million in chips, which kind of sucks for him. But too bad. That's really too bad, though. God, that's a lot of money, or a lot of chips. So anyway, the reason why I bring this up is I was sitting at this event, and this is another sort of marketing element of the information marketing business that's very interesting. So while I was sitting at this event, I bump into this guy who is Norwegian, who is based in London, and we start to talk. And I had just earlier in the day been talking to some guys because in the poker business, there are poker players who don't have much money, and to get into some of these events, like this event was $10,000. So this is $10,000 to get in. Just put the dollar sign there so I remember what I'm talking about. To enter, and this is a relatively high-priced event, the World Series of Poker. And there are some players, and there are some people that can finance this themselves, but many of them cannot. So there's a whole bunch of people on one side, you have poker players, and then on the other side, you have poker investors. So there's some real interesting combinations of people that get together here. But anyway, I was talking to the Norwegian guy, and this woman here, and I'm going to move this down just so I don't have to do that again. So this woman, Elizabeth Hille, who ended up finishing 11th. Now, had she finished in the top 9, she would have gone to what's called the final table, and they all come back again in either October or November and play to see who's the final, absolute, full winner. But in this case, I found out a little bit about her, and she's a waitress in Norway, and that's what her full-time job is. She made about $600,000 finishing number 11th, but had she made it in, I kept telling her Norwegian friends that she should probably find an agent and try and look for a lot of things like endorsements. If you wear a shirt that has a certain thing on it, you can get all kinds of money. One guy was offered, even before he got to the final table, which is the bottom 9, he was offered $80,000 to wear this shirt, which he refused, which I don't know, in most cases that probably is a bad idea. But anyway, so my point is that if you're around, if poker is one of the niches I was interested in, this was a good place for me to be because I could meet a lot of people in that niche, many of whom are pretty heavy hitters. So I went there not just to watch for myself, but also to meet some of the people who are associated with this sport. And I'm always curious as to why they can call it a sport, because it doesn't seem all that physically demanding, but it's certainly mentally demanding. So whatever. At this point, though, I met this Norwegian guy, and there's some other JV opportunities. And so if I do expand and get into another JV relationship, what I'm going to do is try and keep it within one of my existing niches, where poker I could see having more than one or even more than 2 or 3 different opportunities there. So that's what I'm doing. Anybody else have any questions, though? Anything you want to ask me? Excuse me. So now's the time. I'm going to have to get some water as you think about that. Oh, man. So any questions on anything we've covered, this is the time to ask, because I want you to get involved and get your questions answered rather than me just yakking about stuff here. So fire away, everybody. Getting some water out of the fridge here, and you tell me what you want to know about. Because I can't do it all myself. You've got to help me here. Get that quick little... No questions whatsoever? I'm shocked. Shocked that you don't want to pick my brain on this. Anything at all. There's no... you don't have to ask questions related. You can ask any questions you want. Nothing? Seriously? I'll give you a little bit of time there. Let me think of a couple of other things that I was just going to talk about in general. One of the things that you saw Bill and I discussing was the number of opt-ins, and he's not around anymore, but his percentage of people who have bought something, and let me just close this site off because it keeps refreshing here. Okay, and so Ron does have a question. I'll answer that first. Here. Thoughts on social marketing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You know what? Ron's question is basically, is social marketing worth it? Facebook, Twitter, etc. My opinion is, at least for me that I've seen, absolutely not. I have not seen any return on my money. I think that the people who are getting all excited about Facebook and Twitter are, number one, the people who are behind the sites that stand to make a lot of money in an IPO, and also people who are trying to sell you something. So the question is, can you make any money in social media? Now, I think if you're Ashton Kutcher or whatever, who has got, what is his? Let's take a look. I don't know what his total number of Twitter followers is, but it's always curious to look. Let's Twitter.com. Okay, so if we let's see, just get in here. Okay, so let's look for Ashton Kutcher. Okay, so Ashton Kutcher, let's see how many followers he has. He's got 11.5 million followers. I would say that with those kinds of numbers, what you could do is you could actually make money by having a company send you products to review and you just talk about them. Because all this is about number of people who see your posts and your recommendations and your sites. So I think that in the event that you have, but I'll bet, as opposed to when I tell people to build an email list, when you take an email list and you value it, I always tell people it's worth between a dime through $1 per person per month. That's my very, very crude estimate of the value of the email list. So if you have 10,000 people on your list, then you stand to make with that list between $1,000 and $10,000 monthly. Okay? And again, very, very crude estimate. I think with social media, the number would be more like I would say that someone like Ashton Kutcher, let me just see how much this would actually be if my numbers are, let me just check my calculator here and see. So in terms of the calculator, I think that if it's 11 million, let's say he has 11 million followers, right? 11, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, times, if he were obviously using that 10 cents to $1 per person per month, he'd be making between $1 million and $10 million per month. I don't think so. So I'm going to go that I'm going to think that if you can get a penny per person per month out of your Twitter list, so that would be times 0.001. I think that's what it is. That's probably too much. No, that's right. No, that's not right at all. So if you had 11 million, 11, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, times, let's just make times 0.1, which is 10 cents, then you're looking at 1.1 million. So it's 110,000 if it's a penny. So I think that it's probably, my guess is that social media, and your list on social media, is worth less than per person per month. So I think it's much, much, much less valuable. So we're looking at, if you're Ashton Kutcher, I would guess that he is making somewhere around $100,000 a month, maybe thereabouts from his Twitter following. So therefore, is it better to build a Twitter and Facebook following than an email list? I don't think so. I think that you're probably going to make a whole lot more money if you're just doing the other. So that's my read on that. So again, looking at this in terms of actual numbers and dollars you can generate, I think that's my guess. So everybody is spending all their time doing this, and I still think that they'd be better off spending time building their email list, which is what we were just talking about with Bill DeWeese. And again, if you look at his numbers, so let's just make it even. He's got 1,000 opt-ins, and over the last, since he's had this list, he has generated, I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe 35,000 at this point. That's a rough estimate. I'm guessing around there. So if you take that number, which is 35,000, and divide it by 1,000, coming up to, now of course, clear, 35, 1, 2, 3, divided by 1, 1, 2, 3. So you're looking at about $35 per person total. That's not monthly now. $35 total value. So I think that this is a pretty big number. So again, that's why I was telling Bill, let's concentrate on generating more opt-ins, and then now if you also another good guess here is that out of those 1,000 opt-ins, maybe, and maybe less than this, 100 people have bought something. So we obviously have two challenges there. This is, by the way, a pretty huge number in terms of total percentages of people who bought. It's running about 10%, which is big. If 10% of your opt-in list has bought something, you'll be doing more than some of the numbers. Let me just move in here so we don't have as much noise. And if you have those kinds of numbers, you're going to be able to do a substantial amount of business. So his numbers, but here's what's interesting. So Bill has two challenges here. Number one, which is to obviously get more opt-ins, because when we do get them, they're worth a lot. And so we're doing that through both, primarily through SEO stuff, but we're going to use other means as well, so to get more people. But one of the things we keep talking about is the fact that if he can get so much money out of every person, one of the things is that some people, because his lowest priced product so far, lowest priced product he's been offering is more than $100. And I bet there's a bunch of people in that 1,000-person opt-in list who would probably bite at something that was fairly low. So the next thing is introduction of a lower priced product, which is usually not the case for most information marketers. They start out with having some lower priced products, and then they introduce some more expensive products. But in his case, I think that the way he's done it by having higher priced products and now later introducing to his list of 1,000 people some lower priced products, I think he has maintained his sort of status as a provider of high quality products, be that as it may, the fact that they are expensive products. So I think he's going to have, my guess is by offering a product that is under $20, which is probably going to be what it is, I'll bet that we get my guess is another 100 people will buy something. And once someone has bought one thing, it's very easy. Once somebody's pulled out a credit card and given you money, it is a lot easier, assuming that you deliver some great products, to get them to buy more. So in Bill's case, we are, number one, going to be trying to increase the number of opt-ins, also offering a lower price product here as well. And his story, by virtue of the fact that he continues to make more and more money as a voiceover artist, his story becomes very, very powerful as well, which is that it now, this is the same guy who a year ago we told you was making $150,000. He's now making $250,000. These are all using the ideas that you can learn here. Just come in and see what he's got. So if you go to his site, we go back to his site and we click on products here, he now only has, there's a few of them. He's got the audiobook seminar, the voiceover playbook, the one-on-one coaching, over 80 video tutorials. If we click on this, I think it just goes to YouTube perhaps. Yep, and this is his YouTube channel. And so he's got a lot of free stuff as well as a lot of paid stuff. So there's good things there, very good things. And let's see here, products for Bill, one-on-one coaching, the voiceover playbook. And again, this is a product that costs, I think this actually sends us to a different URL, a different website. And it has a number of, I think this product goes for at least $147, if not more. And it's slow load, as we can see here, which is not a good thing. So I'm not happy with that at all. Wonder why that's happening, but it's not working. Let's try it again. Voiceover playbook. Come on, let's open. This is one of the things you should check on your own site to make sure that your links are working and that they load quickly, which this is not. It's not a good thing, and who knows what the reason is. Might be my connection, might be the servers themselves, et cetera, et cetera. By the way, while we're doing that, and since it's loading so terribly slow, here's a good thing. This is a really good suggestion for all of you. Take this down right now. Take down speedtest.net. By the way, it just came up there. Speedtest.net. I'm going to show you how it works. and use it for yourself. It's always good to find out how quickly your your internet speed is, and so I'm going to begin the test. So you go to speedtest.net right here and click begin the test. It's going to show a different part of the country if you're somewhere else in the LA region, obviously. So it did some kind of a ping, and now it's doing a download speed here. Okay, and that's going to give us an upload speed. And I'm on a cable modem, wireless cable connection here. So it's going to give us an average here. Download speed of about 20 Mbps, megapips it's called. And so the upload speed is obviously much slower, but that's still fairly decent, probably running around 1. Let me see what it is here. It shows. Yeah, so 1.5 or so. This is a good place to sort of check how good you're doing. So now it's asking me here some things like how much do you pay per month? Includes, so I'll put in, I think, about $100 a month. That includes phone, and that doesn't include phone. It includes TV. What's your postal code here? I think it's 91354. And I'll submit that. Whoops, what did I do that? Oh, so it is download is 19.93, and this is 1.48. Submit that. Okay, so this, again, a good place to find out how fast your internet speed is. Just a little something there for you. When I clicked on, let's go back to, let me see the load now. Yep, it's already cached over there. So you can be successful, and what did he?
What is the greatest need of voice over time?
Okay, let's see how much he's charging for this. He's charging $247. So Bill doesn't have any products that are relatively inexpensive, which creates a problem because there are a lot of people on the opt-in list who aren't going to buy anything until they first try something and say, you know what, this is pretty good, I like it, I'm going to keep doing it. So with that said, that's a fair amount of material, so all of you should be concentrating on understanding the building of the opt-ins and getting more people to buy, and just understanding this whole process, which is you got to get the opt-ins in there. You have to have products at different price points, so that and some lower price points, so some people will jump on board and then be traded up. And without that, it's really going to be difficult to monetize your information marketing business. So at this point, I really, I don't have a whole lot more that I want to tell you today. So here's my question for you. I'm going to open it up for questions, and I'll take questions for as long as you want, for the next 20 minutes if you want. But after that, that's pretty much what you need to learn for today. So let's open it up for questions. I will wait. Any question you have relevant to information marketing, happy to listen to. By the way, just to let you know, my kdp.amazon.com, I haven't talked about in a while, my Kindle publishing, and that's Kindle desktop publishing, is chugging along just fine, continues to generate about $500 a month gross, which is not bad. And I've showed all of you that before. If you want to see that again real quick, I can just show you that kdp.amazon.com. And so when I sign in here, whoops, it's not Sabrina, it is me. So, sign in. Yeah, that should be okay. And now it's, okay, so this is my Amazon Kindle account in which I'm selling things at a low of $9.99. And so if we look at reports here, my month-to-date unit sales, and the one thing that really annoys me, I'll show you this, is, I mean, again, we got this marketing or coaching services, which sold 64 units, but there were 4 returns. I don't believe that my products ever merit a return, but evidently some people think that they need to return it, which is kind of, yeah, I don't know. It's just bugs me that happens. But anyway, so if you total this out, I'm coming out to about, currently about 250 sales this month if you total it. And by the way, the way that I do this, and I used to be obsessed by doing this, is I take this number 4 plus 1 is 5, 8, 9, 12, 16, and I total it up and then get a pro rata. I try and compute what my monthly is going to be, and right now it's running about 250, and it's paying me, if you look at this, the prior 6 weeks royalties. And again, this is just one revenue source for me, so it's great. So prior 6 weeks royalty, $658.79. So if you take a monthly on that, it's running about $500 a month. $650 would be exactly $150 per week. So that would be, yeah, it's, what is it, $125 a week, I think. If it were $625, I think it'd be exactly, right, in 6 weeks? I don't know. Anyway, it's running about $500 a month is what it's coming out to. But I continue to be very positive on that. I haven't written a whole lot recently for kdp.amazon for the Kindle store, but it just continues to generate money month after month after month, which is great. And again, a lot of times things are selling that I didn't think would sell. And so if you go to just Amazon in general, and you go to the Amazon store here, or the Kindle store, and you put in my name, Gleeck. So these are the various, and by the way, this one that's selling a lot has only got 2 reviews. So reviews aren't the only thing that helps. This one, blah, blah, blah. You can go through these and look at these at yourself at your leisure. This one, by the way, if you don't have this, you should get it. How to Market and Sell Your Own Ebook. That's really, really good, and it's only $2.99. So a bunch of different things here. As you can see, I've got a total of 34 total products being sold on the Amazon Kindle store. And again, you can go through these and check these out. I've talked about this before. And by the way, if you're interested in learning more about this, you can go to the previous webinars that we've had. If you go to my site, I go to the fredgleeck.com site, and I've written extensively about this. There you have it. So again, I'm pretty much done with what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to give you an update on the Amazon store. Did you find what you were looking for? Sure. Let's make them feel good here. So, yes. So now I won't let me put that. I'll just put high. Okay, any questions? So let me ask you, anybody else have any other questions regarding this or any other topics? Now is the time to ask. I want to know if you need anything from me as far as questions answered, because this is all about making sure that you, if you are my potential customers or existing customers, that you get answers to anything that you want answered. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to give you till the count of 3. If I don't hear anybody, I'm just going to keep moving, and we'll see you next week. So 1, 2, oh, here's one. I'm just saying thanks. Okay.